Hi folks, so sitting here in Johannesburg Nature Reserve. It's a real pleasure, it's a real special place this for me. I've done recordings from this place before, this Nature Reserve. It's just amazing that only a 20-minute drive or 5-minute drive away, and it's really the hustle bustle of the city and suburbia and you know the traffic and you just about name it, but here it's just like a sanctuary. It's a little oasis, in all of the machine. It's really so wonderful. I haven't been here for a while. I haven't been in nature for a while, and I'm only here for maybe an hour or so. And it's just so healing. I always underestimate the power of how healing it is and how beautiful it really is, and how like aligned I am with it. It just like says, as soon as I walk in here, I'm barefooted, and it's like I just feel at home. I just feel at peace. I just feel like, under a warm blanket, on a freezing cold night or something like that, near a warm fire when it's blizzard, it's a blizzard outside or something like that, in a little cabin, or just the coziness of it, the warmth of it, it's just, and you know what? It costs like 30 Rand to get in here, which is not a lot of money. We pay like 250 Rand to get into a club. We'll pay 1,000 Rand to get into a concert, and each their own, and each has different kind of energies and experiences, fine. But like for myself, I would imagine this place would cost 500 Rand to get into, just because of the richness of it. It's one of a kind. It's the only nature reserve within Johannesburg that is like this. So it's a real commodity. I don't know what to say, and it's paradise. And yet it's only 30 Rand to get in. And I know that this, the majority of the world is nature, is just as beautiful, is just as inviting as, but it's so hard to get into. Living in the cities, I wished I lived in a small town, or even in the country. Wow. Breaks my heart. But I feel it's my destiny right now to be in the city and where I am and where I'm at. And it's just what it is. It's just how it goes. You folks know what I mean, Some of you do live sort of out in the country or small towns, and you know how intense city life can be. So just appreciate how blessed you are on that level. It's so true. I've just been feeling so weary and so drained, and the last 2 or 3 weeks, because of what's going on for me with finances and people and landlords and this, the whole CV story, and just people in general in the world and the chaosness of it. It's been really heavy 3 weeks for me. But as soon as I step into nature, as soon as I step in here, it's like all just melts away. It just melts away. And that's what we are part of, folks. And we don't realize how so much of the time we are removed from, just the goodness of nature. What's authentic, what's real. And you know what? If I just scan around, it's still, it's spring, but there hasn't been any rain yet, so it's pretty darn dry everywhere. It's pretty brown, so it's not very attractive as it is, let's say, lush green or something like that, but it still doesn't matter, it's still just as beautiful in its own right, in its own way, it's just so ancient, it's just so timeless, it's just so untouched, modified by the hands of man or something like that. No, it just is what it is by its own natural beauty, and so much of life's answers are hidden within within its below the surface of nature, from the birds to its instinctual nature of making a nest, to the sounds that it makes, to the water, this little flowing, not river here, but stream that's here, to grass, to the seasons, to rain, to the sun, to the moon, to the stars, to the insects, to the energy. There's just so much to learn. You take a psychedelic and you're glued to an anthill for an hour and a half, just watching the complexity, the relationship of it all, the the consciousness that is there, and the consciousness that is in nature. And it's amazing, so little just goes to waste. It's all recycled, it's all renewed. It's just so much to learn. It's just so much to understand, so much to be humbled by, for crying out loud. Anyway, so I was thinking of, while I was walking, I was thinking of the story of my sister-in-law's sister. And she's probably about 45 years old now, and she's got like 4 children, and a mother, a soccer mom, and she juggles all the balls in the air, dropping the kids off school, taking them to extra lessons. She's an audiologist herself, or a ear specialist or something like that, I'm not sure. And she's very, very busy, a lot of things to do, has her personality, her character in the city, the hustle bustle every single day, and it's just, and she climbed Kilimanjaro a few years ago, and they watched the sunrise on the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, and she didn't want to come down. She said, I just don't want to return. I just don't want to go back into the city. I just don't want to go back to my life, right? Because of the chaos of it all, the demands of it, the stresses of it all, the emotional engagement of it all, just everything, the stresses of it all, the lack of peace, the lack of mindfulness, you just about name it, the lack of consciousness. And so she didn't want to come back down, and they said, look, you have to, obviously can't stay up here. And she needed counselling after she came back down, because she just didn't want to return. She didn't want to come back. I mean, with her children, her husband, everything. She was like, no way. This is just too tranquil. This is just too beautiful. This is just too serene. This is just too magical. This is just home at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. And she eventually, went for counselling and therapy and whatever it was. And she, this is many years later, and she's back in the grind of things. But I'm sure she has that impression carried with her in her heart, in her soul, for her whole life, and what that felt like. And folks, how many people don't ever have that kind of experience? They don't have to be at Mount Kilimanjaro, but they can be in a park, they can be, I don't know, something or other, higher states of consciousness, in higher vibrating environments or something like that. And connect with the infinity of it all. The peacefulness of it all, the magic of it all, the majesticness of it all. Oh, I mean, I sit in the sun, I feel the sun's warmth, the rays of the sun, and I just think about the relationship of these plants, of the animals, of every living thing on this planet that is dependent on the sun. And I feel it, and the blessing of the sun every single day. And you know what? It's free. The sun, it's free. Not charging. There isn't. If they could, they would. They'll charge money to basically just sit in the sun or feel the sun's rays. And whatever it is. If man had his hand on it, he would knock down every tree. Grind down every rock, every mountain, every bit of green, and just put concrete around the whole world, whether it's flat or round, completely. And then man would be satisfied. As Terence McKenna says, turn the whole world into an airport arrival. Just airports everywhere, just flying everywhere, just that's all that it is, and we convert that in that way. And so most people don't know about these kind of higher energy vibrations. And I think even those who do tend to, their people are walking, and they're nature bird watchers, and they got their binoculars, and I'm sure they connect with it, the land, with the wind, with the sun, with the air and everything. They connect with the energy. But again, to what degree? Because I have seen people that walk through here on a Sunday. Now it's a Wednesday, especially came during the week. And, they're on their phones and they're dressed as if they're going to a fancy dinner or lunch or something like that. And, they're very, very distracted. They're very busy talking to each other and telling jokes. And, it's just fine. But often of the time littering as well. Drives me mad. And just not connected with the place at all. And so a lot of people can have these kind of experiences and really take nothing from it, and that's a shame, and that's obviously just where they're holding. But for those who can really feel and connect with deeply in their way, it's no doubt about it. Hello. Hi. And so yeah, and they're just so lost. They just don't know anything much about it. Like I think to my father, to say, just one day, Dad, just one day, step away from the office, step away from the whole CV narrative, step away from it all, and just come with me for 1 hour, and walk, and just be here on a Monday morning. Come and do it. Because I don't think he's ever done something like this in his life. It's never touched the heart of, of the soul of nature or something, of just where we belong, where we come from, what we are about, the expansiveness of it. I mean, I see these people just walking past now, and like they put their masks on when they see me. I don't know if they put it on because for me, or they're worried about me. I mean, there's no one else around, folks. And they're standing quite far away. I mean, it's way more than the social distancing requirements. And yet they stopped there to put their mask on. Then they walked, and I'm sure they're taking their mask off. Now, I don't know if it is for me, but I know it's the regulations. You have to wear a mask, And I mean, the insidiousness of it, the hideousness of it, it's just like, all of that junk, all of that garbage, the fear that people are under, the propaganda that people are under, the mind control that people are under. Whatever it is, this is just ridiculous. So far removed, right? And I think my point I wanted to say on is that, the time that we're living in, I've watched a few podcasts and listened to a few YouTube videos where the people are saying that, Neil Kramer says that empire is finished. He says it's finished. The controlling system, it's done. Because this world is moving to a higher vibration. Right? And empire is stuck within the 3D realm. It cannot move from this dimension upwards. And so its time is done. It's dying. And I've heard other people, say, channelers as well, Paul Selleck as well talks about, his guides. And they talk about, moving to a higher resonance, a higher frequency. And that this world is being dismantled. And we ourselves, the part of ourselves which are untrue or unfitting or whatever it might be, part of this dimension is being dismantled. Our identity, personality, our beliefs, so much of ourselves is being dismantled in order to rise up to the next, the higher frequency, the higher octave, if you will, right? And so empire is trying their utmost best now more than ever and going forward to try and keep whatever they can of their rule and system in place while the shift goes through, or however it works, I don't know, to keep control. And so they are pulling out all the punches now. And they will continue to do so. They'll continue to pull out all the punches and all the tricks up their sleeves, and they've been preparing for this. Empire is not caught with its pants down. The establishment, the powers that be, did not get caught with their pants down. They knew something was coming. Could they anticipate the magnitude of it? I don't know. Maybe they've done this many times. Like in The Matrix, the architect says to Neo, we've done this 6 times before, or 5 times before, 6 times. I mean, that number again, 6. We've done this many times before. We've seen the evolution, we've seen the cycles, we're becoming very efficient at it, you know, to reboot the matrix in their favor in a way. And so they didn't get caught with their pants down. They've been planning this for decades, centuries in a way. They saw it coming. Now that doesn't mean that, you know, I sometimes have my different feelings about things, because sometimes I just think, you know, which I'm going to obviously at times just feel that empire, you know, has got its boot on the neck of humanity, you know, and it's just pushing down harder and harder and harder, you know, and, you know, we just can't breathe. That's sometimes what I feel, and I feel that it's game over. I feel that, like, you know, we just, you know, the game has been lost. Sometimes I really feel that, and I feel terrible about that. I don't always have the faith to carry me through. But when I come into nature in entire states of consciousness, you know, then I realize how powerful and, you know, and at the same time insignificant in a way empire is in comparison to the overall arching reality of things, you know. And I think about the destruction that empire has caused, that establishment has caused. I think about how much suffering has gone on, and whether it was part and parcel of this reality. Was it necessary? Was it the destiny? Is it the way that it works? Or was it because, you know, human beings just didn't want to take responsibility? You know, they wanted to obey masters, internally and externally. They wanted to devote themselves to the experts. They wanted to prostrate themselves, you know, get down on their hands and knees in front of the guru and saying, "Save me. You are my God." I was watching this documentary last night about gods of the New Age, and how people would just sacrifice themselves for the guru, the devotion for the guru. That women would prostitute themselves in order to make money, in order to give money to the guru. Many things. People would commit crimes, right? Kidnapping, horrible things, in order to get money to pay the guru for their classes and just to keep the establishment going, while the gurus drove around in Rolls Royces. And the poverty outside of these ashrams and these places was so sickening. But their idea was that it's their karma. So don't lay a finger on them, because all you're going to do is they're going to keep on repeating the recycling. So in fact, by helping them, you're causing them more trouble. And I was thinking of all these spiritual beliefs that people believe nowadays, that they, you know, of the New Age stuff, you know, whatever it is, that is so hocus pocus, that I get these comments on my videos from time to time, you know, that it's all a projection. It's all these things that are just, you cannot confirm any of it. Like even the law of attraction, I know that there's something to it, right? But like, you can't confirm any of this. It's like, if I believe that in every room there are 4 angels in every corner of every room, and I pray to each angel of whatever it is, that if I keep doing that, then I will be protected throughout my day, you know. And then let's say I go throughout my day and something happens, a dog comes and bites me. Somebody say, you see, I don't know why I'm going off on this, it frustrates me. Well, you didn't pray to the 4th angel correctly, you know. Like when I hear about the law of attraction, and then I think about these starving kids in India, in Africa, that all they think about is food, all they wish for is food, all they try and manifest is food. I mean, their ribs are sticking out of there, and it's, well, you're not doing it right, because you're imagining that, you know, that you haven't got it yet. And I'm thinking to myself, what kind of mechanistic world do you think we live in? A computerized, you know, thing that it's just like a magnet, that it's just cold-hearted. That, you know what I mean? It's like, well, if you align your vibration will be met. It's like we live in some kind of machine, you know, or something like that. I don't think it's that way. I don't think it's a magnet. It's like positive and negative in that way. I don't think it's that way. I think there's prayer, I think there's dream, I think there's wish, what I'm saying. I think there's effort, there's action that involved. And then I think your guides, your angels, whatever it might be, looks and sees on your merit, on how have you been doing? How have you been growing? How have you been developing? What is your conviction? Right? What is your suffering? What is your surrendering? What is your sacrifice? You know, in order to get that which you feel that you need, which a lot of the time, most of our needs are actually grandiose and egotistical needs. The law of attraction, I want money. Most of it's about money. You say, okay, well, some people hijacked it and made it about money. So what is it that you want? Is anybody manifesting truth? Is anybody manifesting a closer relationship with God or themselves? No, it's completely external. Completely. God is completely out of the picture with law of attraction. It's like, I'm going to sit on my lotus, you know, in position, and I'm going to attract all these things mechanically to me and whatever it is, because I'm kind of magician or something like that. Maybe I don't understand it. Sorry, I get passionate because there's no critical thinking. There's no critical thinking. But if you say to me, well, Aaron, how do you come across and say that there is some kind of evolution going on, you know, and that we're moving to a higher octave, and that, you know, the higher vibrations that that empire is falling, and that a new dawn is breaking, you know, and it's the darkest before the dawn, and there is a birthing process going on, you know, there's a death rebirth process going on, but birth is traumatic, you know. How can you say that? And I say, because the signs are there. I can feel it, I can see it, we can talk about it to one another. You know, it is evidential in our lives. It's everywhere. You can't hide from it. You can feel it in yourself, how much you've grown, how much you've been, you know, how much you're being dismantled in yourself, how much you have grown within a few months, within a few weeks, whatever it is, the rapid rate of your own development, your own understandings, you know, to the degree of which you're willing to go with the flow. You're willing to relinquish your, you know, the control that you have over it, or your ego control, your identity control, or something like that. To go with the flow, not the flow of the matrix of empire or whatever it is, the flow that they, you know, moving man into machine, transhumanism, you know, in order to cyberlink or hyperlink or something kind of link down, you know, the consciousness into zeros and ones, into the duality, the final duality of a zero and a one. You know, the binary code or something like that. Listen to the waterfall. Waterfall, just the river, just... You know, humility, presence, surrender. Openness, you know. So much do I realize every day, how little do I know. I try and work things out and I calculate and I see it's like, I don't understand this. I don't understand a lot of the time why God does what God does. And we're here to contend with God. There's a lot of things I don't understand. There's a lot of things I thought I did understand, but now I don't understand. Before I felt like I could give advice so much more readily, so much more easily. Now I'm like, I hold back a lot. I'm like, I don't understand that situation. I don't know what's going on there, you know. Like before also I have judgments. Like I'll look at people that are, you know, sort of overweight, like excessively, you know, like this guy over here who was walking shame. I mean, again, my heart goes out to these people, right? People that are... It's very hard, this. What am I saying? You know, a lot of things come up for me. Because I think, like, I look and I say, well, this person's not ascending, this person is a sheeple, this person is whatever it is, and there is somewhat of a truth to it, but I don't know what's going to happen with these people. I don't know what on a soulful level. You know, some people believe that when people whose souls haven't been activated, or they haven't found the Christ consciousness within themselves, that what happens is that they just go back to the source. They absorb into the source. No character, no personality, nothing is left of them. They just absorb like a drop returns to the ocean. Painless. And I think sometimes maybe animals work that way as well. I don't know. Soul group, I don't know. And sometimes I look and I say there has to be a continuation for some people or whatever, or for everybody. Like, what happens when these people die? What is the purpose of this, of these people, of these individuals? And then the idea that God is in everything, in every single one, in every single person. You can't have it one or the other. You can't say that God is only in certain places, and this is where I'm torn in between, right? And then some people say there is no such thing as evil, and there is no such thing as the negative. And I say, well, there is. And then sometimes I say, well, there isn't, because depending on the perspective that you look at things from. So much of it comes down to perspective. 1 minute I'm looking like as if, you're looking at a birth, like Terence McKenna says, and you've never seen a birth before, and you don't know what's happening. An alien who comes down from a place, that has never seen birth. They create each other in vats or something like. And you come across the corner and you see a woman in labor, and it's horrific what's going on. She's screaming. There's blood. There's tissue being torn, tears, moaning, sweat. It looks like the woman's in agony, that should be put out of her misery. But at the same time, this is how life comes forth. And it will take a real stretch of the imagination to understand that this is how life, comes through. You just think about the child, the womb, the infant in the oceanic experience of the womb, and then being forced through the birth canal. He cannot breathe, is being squeezed to death, right? Comes out on the other side, has no idea what the hell's going on. It's a trauma. It's an absolute trauma. And so I look at this world and I say, for heaven's sake, it's just a bloody trauma. What's going on the children today, what's happening for them, it's a trauma. What they've been to, whatever's going on, the way that McDonald's is sort of the number one food here in this country, almost in a way. Or like the villain is praised and the hero is crucified in this world. And you look and you say it's a bum deal. It's finished. The good guys lost a long time ago, And I don't know. I've had this before. Like I said, I've grown out of this quite a bit. But that God has got bigger plans on other planets and other universes and other dimensions. He's a busy guy. This one was sort of like a pet project, a side thing that didn't really kind of turn out very well. I've grown out of that, but there are hints and sentiments of that as well that come up for me anyways. And so, I don't know, because it is, I'm emotionally engaged and enraged by the indifference that other people have to your suffering, their suffering, and everybody else's suffering around them. I cannot, and so are you, folks. So it is, it's a very hard challenge, but it's again perspective. So in higher states of consciousness, I can see the perspective of, yes, there is this evolutionary process going on. There is this happening. And at the same time, I think there is a de-evolution. I think there is the fall of empire, and everybody who's connected to empire and establishment is falling down with it, or going down with it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But again, it's perspective, and my perspective changes from day to day. But perspective is being asked now for us to take a huge leap. A huge leap. And are we capable, where we're holding in ourselves, to take such a huge leap? Do we have what I don't have what it takes most of the time, and that's not excusable for me to even just say that and let myself off the hook. It's such a gigantic leap where if we stand at the end of history, that all has meaning and all has purpose. It's very difficult. I have a lot of sort of chips on my shoulders, if you will, that I'm trying to rectify and heal and put right. But it's not easy. I have a lot of pains and wounds and traumas, that I don't know if I'm holding on to, not letting go, slightly feeling victimized and enjoying the victimization of it. I don't know. Maybe I don't even believe that I'm a good person sometimes. I sometimes don't. I lose complete track of all the things in my life that I should feel proud of and feel, like amazed by. Look how far you've come. Look what an individual you are. Look how unique you are. Look how devoted and your conviction. You're willing to question. I don't know, it just happens naturally for me. Is there effort involved? I don't know, it's just I do what I do, but I'm not convinced by myself a lot of the time. Sometimes I feel so low, you know, I just feel so low, but that's my healing, and that's what it's about. All right, folks, we're on a momentous journey here, you know, a momentous time. Words absolutely fail, and the near future that lies ahead is going to be very, very interesting and very challenging, you know, and we have a lot of work to be doing now and in the near future of healing, of dismantling the inauthentic self, of healing the wounds, you know, and elevating ourselves beyond all the fear, you know, the consumerism, the one dimension, whatever it might be, and bring ourselves closer into the light and to the kingdom of God, so that we may, you know, have smooth sailings, you know, into the next dimension, the higher octaves, you know, the new dawn, if you will. All right, folks, take care, be well.